Welcome back. How are you all doing? I'm gonna go ahead and light some sage, some white sage incense, and then we're gonna get right into our discussion. Hello, you guys. I missed you. Welcome back once again. Today, we are gonna discuss having confidence. This is something that I discussed on live recently. Shout out to you guys for sharing your vulnerable truths with me because now I can open up this discussion. So, this is what we're gonna do. First, I'm gonna discuss how I knew I wasn't confident, how to become more confident, and at the end, we're gonna discuss how to apply this if you're interested in creating content. It takes a while, I will say. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that you have to be diligent with. Keep that in mind with everything that I discuss, okay? So let's go ahead and dive right in. When I was younger, even all the way up into my adulthood, I was under the impression that I was confident. You couldn't tell me anything. I was a go-getter, but there were still areas that I was downright not confident in. It definitely shows up in areas where you're supposed to be social, dealing with other people, most definitely around the people that you love and hold dear and near to your heart. So remember, the people in your life that are closest to you, they are part of your life lesson. They are the obstacle course that you're dealt when you first incarnate on this planet. A lot of us get very resentful. We take a lot of things personal and we put a lot of baggage, weight, and power into people outside of ourselves. And if we dial it back just a little bit and we remember they're here to assist our soul to evolve on this journey, it will be a little bit easier to digest. You may not forgive them. I'm not even asking you to make amends or anything like that. I will say, just remember they're here to assist you. Some of these may bleed into each other, so just keep that in mind, okay? So some of the aspects and characteristics that I held that I was unaware was an indicator to other people that I was insecure or not as confident as I should be were the following. I was always happy or very energetic. I thought that was a good thing. That was my quirkiness and my personality. Those were the things where people would jokingly say, "Oh my gosh, Ra, you're so crazy. You're crazy. Do you know Ra? She's crazy, right?" Those were the things that I thought brought the room to life, that I thought brought people to life. And many times it did, but it didn't earn me respect. It also was an indicator I was a people pleaser. I was busy trying to keep everyone's mood up around me because I was also unaware that I'm empathic. So I'm affected by other people's energy and I can feel their energy. And a lot of times I took on the burden of trying to lift everyone's spirits, which drained the life out of me. To be honest, I was unaware of that. I always wanted to have fun. I always wanted to bring life into the room and everybody else could go from there, right? But I was not aware that in that I was not facing the things underneath, the things that hurt, the things that bothered me. I was too busy trying to make life as fun as possible, unaware that I was trying to mask my own wounds. So that within itself is not stepping up and being true to yourself. And if you're not true to yourself, how much can you truly be confident? How often can you show up in confidence if you're not operating in your true authentic self? While I seemed or I put on this show as an extrovert, I was not willing to go after the things that I knew I was qualified for. I was unaware of my own value. God could have came down and said, "Girl, you are all that in a bag of chips." And I would have been like, "Are you sure? Really? Where? Can you prove it to me?" Instead of knowing and understanding that I genuinely am a great person and it doesn't take a degree. It doesn't take accolades. It doesn't take a Benz. It doesn't take a lot of different things for me to understand that. A lot of people that are in this situation that aren't as confident and comfortable in themselves, fail to realize just because you know that you are worth respect and you are worth the beauties of life does not make you arrogant. It doesn't make you mean. It doesn't make you snobby. That leads into my next unaware hint that I was not a confident person. I did not want to be the villain. I didn't want to go against the grain. I didn't want to rock the boat. The only time I rocked the boat is when I allowed people to take it way too far, and then I exploded. There was an eruption. That wasn't very mature of me. That was a demonstration of the lack of self-control I had. And when I was around people that were emotionally intelligent and they did not empathize with my point because of how I demonstrated my point, I felt they were insensitive, when in all actuality, I needed to take more accountability on how I handled my situations. I believe there were also times that I was too tolerant of people's behavior. It would take me longer than I should to address situations that needed to be addressed on the first offense. I felt like you give people some time to get acclimated to you and maybe understand you a little bit, and then they might show you some respect. Or if you're nice and you're forgiving, then they'll show you respect. The thing about the word nice, if you look up the etymology, it may surprise you. It is not as cute and genuine or graceful as you may think. I had to reprogram my paradigm behind that. So now that I'm more aware, I understand in that niceness, I was under the impression that I was giving people the opportunity to show up for me, when in all actuality, I was giving them more opportunity to disrespect me. If people don't respect you the first time, they're not going to respect you any other time. You have to address that. And it took me some time to figure that out. Now, where I am, I understand I'm not your mother, I'm not your father, and I'm definitely not your best friend. I don't have to tell you when you are exhibiting bad behavior or poor behavior, or any sort of poor emotional hygiene. That is another part that ties into being the villain. I will over-explain myself, and I would try to get people to understand my point and see where I was coming from and help them evolve and mature and show up as a better person, when I realized later that's not how it was coming across. Another sign was playing it small. I was playing almost everything about myself small. I didn't want anyone to pay attention to me. I didn't want to show any of my skill. There was a long history of people being very vicious in their jealousy toward me when I shined my light. So I didn't want to shine my light because it would either put me in a situation where I had to minimize myself, or I felt like I had to fight. So because I didn't like either of those feelings, I just tried to stay out of the way. That is a big indicator that I was lacking confidence. Another one that seems so innocent, you won't even catch it, is always being there for people. I was always answering the phone. I was always showing up. I was always supportive. I was always going out of my way for people that would not do the same for me. But we're just going to put that on the side right now because that doesn't really matter. What matters the most, I did all of those things while disregarding myself. I was putting myself on a back burner. I was stopping the things that I was doing, whether it was working on a dream, enjoying my relaxation time, spending time with my son, spending time by myself, meditating, yoga, anything, going to work. I would put things on the back burner to show up for people and show out for people. Then I would get upset when they would not show up and show out for me like that. I should have did more investigating. I should have understood that no matter what, there are certain things nobody comes before. And I didn't realize it until I went down my healing journey. I sat down one day and I was like, when is the last time my phone rang? And it wasn't because someone had to return my phone call. It didn't feel like a forced interaction. So that year, I said to myself, I'm gonna delete everyone's phone number out of my phone, and I'm gonna see who's going to call and check in on me. I was always the one doing the checkups. I was always the one that was calling just to say hi, to see what was up, to see if anybody wanted to do anything. I was always the initiator. I wanted to see who was going to initiate something with me. My phone never rang. That was a hard truth that I had to face. Wow, nobody is thinking about checking on me. Meanwhile, I was always the one thinking about checking on other people. So it's really interesting that now there's huge conversation around narcissists and how narcissists want you to pour into them, so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure that I probably show up as a narcissist to some people. They probably paint that narrative in their mind because I'm not going to pick up the phone and check on you. I was always the one doing that. And now that I have a purpose, I have a passion, I have something that I take very seriously, I'm not going to check on anyone because I'm too busy pouring into myself. So I realized I had to redirect my thought process and get busy. In those moments, I kind of felt like the villain. I still felt like, wow, I don't know if everybody is safe. I don't know if everybody is doing okay. But I had to realize nobody is making sure that you're okay. And you have to take the energy that you're pouring into other people and put it back into yourself. You need to now make sure that you're okay. You need to make sure that you're going to make it and your son is going to be okay. That is on you now. That's your job. It should not have to be reciprocated between you and other people anymore, because now you see that those people don't value you as much as you value them. Knock them off the pedestal. Replace yourself with them. Now you see how I said that? I didn't say it with anger, resentment, hate. I'm saying it as an epiphany because that's exactly what it was. I didn't take it personal, which is the next point. I took too many things personal. It just wasn't personal. People are going to show up and show out how they view the world. It often has little to do with you, how they react, how they handle situations. Everything in their universe is solely based on how they grew up, how they were raised, and how they view the world. If people back then thought that they can step all over me, right? They thought that because they probably experienced other people stepping all over kind people. Now that doesn't make it right, of course. At the same time, now I understand. This is not my type of person. I need to move away from this person, or I need to deal with this person with a long handled spoon if I can't get away from this person. I need to invest the least amount of energy into these people and take all of that energy and put it back into myself. I'm not dirty snatching my energy out of spite. I'm calling my energy back to myself so that I'm able to progress further in life. I don't need the claps and the cheers from anyone else because I have more than enough of that within myself. So in that, I know now what I didn't know then. I don't have to feel validated by other people's cheers. That was something that was incredibly challenging for me to wrap my head around. Just because they're not cheering does not mean what I'm doing is not a big thing. I'm taking a big step. And I need to understand that. I need to be proud of that. I don't have to wait, and I should not have to wait for someone else to prove to me that they believe in me, because now I believe in myself. And that was something that I was lacking. It reminds me of a friendship that I once had. Because I was in a good position, I had money, I took care of my car, I had a car, I didn't mind driving. I would always pick her up whenever we wanted to go somewhere. I would invite her out. We would do so many things. And I remember she would never pick the phone up for me. Once every blue moon, she would pick up the phone. I thought it was interesting because at that time she didn't have a car and I would always show up and show out. And I felt like that energy needed to be reciprocated, at least by picking up the phone. Even if you're busy, just to say, hey, I'm busy. So there was this push and pull in that dynamic. I was always showing up for this person. They couldn't even pick up the phone for me. They wouldn't even try to dial my number, which was so interesting because I never saw it. And I think I didn't see it because my cup was always overflowing. It didn't mean anything to me to go to her house and pick her up and go wherever we wanted to go and then take her back. Once I decide that I'm going to show up for you, there's no heaviness for me. Like I never asked for gas money, anything like that. It was never anything like that. And I think sometimes maybe she did give me gas money. I can't really remember, But if she did, it was scarce. It was not for the amount of times that we would go somewhere and do something. There was no, I'm going to try to pour into your cup as well. It was very self-centered energy. But I didn't notice until I decided to stop calling people. I was like, you know what? This person in particular, the way I show up for them, I'm just curious if they're ever going to pick up the phone and call me. She never did. Once I made that decision, she never called me back. Maybe like a year or so after, we were both invited to a mutual friend's birthday party. And while we were at this birthday party, she shows up and she walks up to me and she's like, hey, Ra, same energy, like no time has passed. And that's typically how I operate with people. If you haven't seen me in a while, I'm busy. But when we come back around, you know, there's no bad blood. In this instance, there was no bad blood, but she did not deserve the same amount of energy she used to receive from me. I called all of my energy back. I looked at her and I was like, hey. And even in that calm, hey, it was like she was scrambling. Like, don't you see me? Why aren't you acting the same way with me that you usually do? And all of the body language was very intriguing to watch. I could not believe she didn't understand why she wasn't getting the same energy from me. After that, she was asking probing questions like, hey, you good? What's going on? I was like, I'm fabulous. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So the old version of me before that time would have felt bad doing that. I would have felt bad restructuring who we are to each other at this point. I had no hatred in my heart for her. Great person. Still, to this day, I'm sure she's a great person, just not my person, and does not deserve my energy, does not deserve to be that close to me, does not deserve that sort of excitement to have seen her. So in that moment, some of you may ask, well, Ra, why didn't you tell her what happened? Why didn't you explain why you were behaving that way? Because she did everything short of asking me why. And that was the other thing. If you don't ask for clarification, I will not give it to you. It's not my job to do that. That's your job to discover yourself and go within and figure that out. And it reminds me of a time on social media where people were saying, if I did something, if there's some discourse, just tell me. It's not my job to hold your hand, baby. That's your job. I shouldn't have to tell you when you're misbehaving. I shouldn't have to tell you when you're being inconsiderate. I shouldn't have to tell you when you lack emotional intelligence. That's not my job. You're putting that burden on someone else. It's your job to go within and see what's going on there. And what I'm going to do is show up as the catalyst that allows the trigger for you to go down that journey, because it's a wonderful journey. It's a great path. You learn a lot about yourself and you find a lot of inner strength in that. So if there's anyone that has ever slowly but surely disconnected from you, don't hold any resentment in your heart for them. Just understand you might need to go within and look at yourself. Because even if you didn't do anything to that person, you have to understand that you don't deserve to be around people like that. Why do you put yourself in situations where people treat you that way and you don't deserve it? You did absolutely nothing wrong. You weren't giving too much. You weren't being annoying. You weren't overextending. You were doing everything just right and they pulled back. Why do you keep meeting energies like that? I just want to say, if you found me, I manifest the energy that you no longer care. Okay? So say it with me. I don't care. Let's say it one more time. I don't care. Now, you ready? I release all of that energy now. Say it with me. I release all of that energy now. And smile. Okay? Great. You better not think about those people. Okay? We're not going to peel scabs off and continue to check the wound. We're going to allow the wound to heal. And we're just going to nurture that wound. We're going to revisit how we could have showed up better. And we're going to promise ourselves that we will show up better. Okay? This is a pinky promise. You cannot break that. It's very important that you understand your word is your bond. Okay? But just keep that in mind. I believe I have successfully turned into people that I thought was stuck up. Now I understand why they operated the way they did. The epiphanies that come later in life, huh? It was challenging to be a friend of theirs. Now I understand why. Before, I used to befriend people just because we had a couple good giggles, just because we worked in the same field and we worked alongside each other, or maybe we were classmates. Oh, we're friends because we have this in common. I can't be friends with you just because you're cool. You have to be aspiring to something the same way that I am. You have to have the same morality and integrity, understanding, and nuances that I have. I understand now that a lot of people are associates and acquaintance. They're not friends. You don't bring people in so easily. You can work with people. You need to. You can network, of course, you need to do that. And you can be kind and friendly then, but understand that those people don't need to be brought all the way into your circle. They have to work for that. So now that we ran through indications that I was not as confident as I thought I was in my younger years, let's reflect on now. Recently, I asked my son, on a scale of 1 to 20, how confident are you? And his answer was astonishing to me. So I asked him, where did he think my confidence was? And he gave me a 14. And I thought about it. I was like, I would think that it's a little bit higher than that, but we're going to keep it because I value his input and his opinion. Once I reflected on it, I thought to myself, you know what? I still have areas where I can work on being confident. And one of those areas is when I feel like something may be off, wrong, or rooted in surface things. I'm not as confident to believe that I'll be able to play through that game. I'm so quick at cutting things and people off when they're playing around. So there are some areas where I need to work on my confidence. I need to be confident that I will show up balanced and whole in all situations, or at least 90% of situations. In that, it also made me reflect on every time I ask someone, why don't you speak up for yourself? Why aren't you confident? What's going on? The answer is always, I don't know. But I do know. You're being lazy. You don't want to step out of your comfort zone. You want to be able to predict every single move that's about to happen. You don't want to take any risk. You don't want to look like the villain. You don't want people to see you and think that you're mean and disconnected because you don't want them to discount you or count you out, but they've already done that. So now that we understand that we have all of that out of the way, let's continue. How are you going to become more confident? We heard all the things that I went through and I had to overcome. And now that I've worked on those things, I understand how to truly become more confident. One of the things are you have to get to know yourself. You have to be able to spend time with yourself and understand that you don't know who you are when no one else is around. You may have people in your life that make you feel less than or make you want to minimize yourself. You may have people in your life that you look up to. But who are you without their image mirrored or shadowed upon you? Who are you? You have to sit with yourself, completely disconnect, and sit in all of that uncomfortability and figure out exactly who you are. Before you even think about who you want to be, before you try to tackle this grand mountain of becoming confident, who are you right now? What are the things that you like and the things that you don't like? You have to spend a lot of time alone. When I finally took my healing journey seriously, it prompted me to sit with myself. I needed to understand why I needed to be entertained by something. Why did I need my phone? Why did I always have to get up and clean, cook, reorganize, handle tasks? Why could I not sit with myself? Why couldn't I cry? Why couldn't I not pick up the phone and call someone else and check on someone else? Why did I feel a way that other people weren't calling me? Why? I had to go through a cleanse. I had to fast, not just from food, but also from people. I had to fast from different environments. I was too comfortable being in places that were like sewer energy to me. I didn't belong there, and I always knew that I didn't belong there. I didn't belong around those people for that duration of time. Now, that doesn't mean that I look down on people. I value people. I just understand that I was not supposed to be in the sewer with other people. If that's where they want to be and they don't want to evolve and be great, then that's on them. But I had to sit with myself and say, why are you so willing to deal with people that don't even have the same morality and integrity that you do? Why are you excited to spend time with people like this and not excited to spend time with yourself? Why haven't you felt bored in a while? I had to sit in my uncomfortability until there was no uncomfortability and there was just boredom. And I had to transmute the boredom into peace. That is the very first thing. Who are you when nobody else's impression is shadowed upon you? Who are you when there's nothing else around you to define you? The next one would be step out of your comfort zone. You are way too comfortable. And even when you step out, yes, I understand you have to take baby steps. Valid. At the same time, two things can be true at once. You could only be taking small baby steps, micro steps, instead of making a true effort to see change and difference in your life. Why? That's what you need to ask yourself. Why are you holding yourself back? Is it really not safe? Are you going to lose your life? But did you die? Every time you take a step outside of your comfort zone, you gain more momentum and energy and trust within yourself to understand that nothing happened. And sometimes the best things happen. Quick story time. A long time ago with a friend, it was like a Wednesday night. She was like, girl, I'm bored. What do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. You can come over here if you want to. And she brought a box of wine over. We sat on my floor, early 20s, playing music, chit-chatting. And we decided that that simply wasn't enough. We decided to go downtown. And as we rolled downtown, maybe it was Carrie Hilson, Pretty Girl Rock on the radio, vibing with the windows down, the summer air coming through the windows. And we finally parked. We began to walk downtown with no destination in mind. We had no idea which direction to walk. And out of nowhere, there was a group of girls from out of town, and they were like, hey, are you guys from Chicago? We're trying to find this club. It's called da da da. Have you guys been there? Do you know how to get there? And we looked at each other. We were like, wow, this is actually really embarrassing because we don't know where that club is. So I was like, oh, what are the cross streets? And they told me, and I was like, oh, I know where that is. We'll take you guys. We got to the club. We weren't dressed for the club. We had on heels because we kept it cute, but we did not have the type of attire that we would typically wear. We just had on clothes from the day and threw heels on. We didn't know what the cover was. We'd never been to this club before. We did not know the promoter. We had no idea what type of music they were playing that night. It was very spur of the moment. So this particular club was downstairs in this building. We showed our IDs, having no clue or idea whether we had to pay to get in or not, and there was no cover. Okay, that's a good thing. All right, it's looking good for us. We get into the club. Baby, when I tell you that that club was turned, people were dancing. They were playing music we'd never heard before. We quickly found out that the DJ was from the UK, and I was like, girl, why haven't we ever been to this club? It was a mixed crowd, and I believe this is a lot of clubs. I haven't been to a club in years. Forgive me, you guys. Let me know in the comments if it's still like this. But on certain nights, the same club will have different music. So you'll have reggaeton night, you'll have R&B and hip hop, you'll have techno, you'll have all of these different nights at certain clubs. But this club, I can't even tell you what type of music they were playing. I just know it wasn't the same mumbo jumbo that we were hearing on the radio. We were able to move, we were able to rock. The fun doesn't stop there. We were invited into someone's VIP. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. We were able to drink and have a good time. We were able to sit down when we were tired. We left the VIP, making our rounds around the club to find our little spot so that we can dance and enjoy ourselves. The security guard gave us 2 drink tickets. So now we have free drinks. And I was like, okay, the night can't get any better. So we go to the bar and we order Long Islands. Once we get these drinks, I will never forget the bartender. Something about her presence told me that that girl knew what she was doing. Okay, and she was a sister, but she knew what she was doing. And once we got those drinks, that was the best Long Island I've ever had. It slapped. Now, you guys, I've drank more than enough in my younger years. I love mocktails now. I'm trying to be very conscious in my sobriety, okay? I kicked the new year off with a little liquor, but baby, that is probably the last time I'm going to drink liquor the rest of this year, okay? But back then, that drink snuck up on us. It was strong. It was giving, okay, this night can turn into anything at this point. We got on a dance floor, we danced, we laughed, and when we left that club, and we also left at the right time. You know how you don't drag a good time? You got to know when to cut it. But we left at a good time, and we never forgot about that day. We always brought that day up. And we had another friend that we told, girl, you should have came with us that Wednesday night. We had a ball. You would have really enjoyed yourself. But it was a spur of the moment thing. So when I say step out of your comfort zone, there's not always gloom and doom when you do that. Okay, listen to Big Sis. Listen to Big Sis. I lived for you, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, now if your intuition is telling you that it may not be safe, then baby, don't do that. Okay, why would you do that? Don't do that. But girl, if you're just scared because you don't know what's on the other side of door number 1, okay, now it's time to, it's time to grow up a little bit. I just have to say it. I try to be so sweet to you all the time, but you all want me to snatch your wigs. You want me to drag you. So sometimes I just have to show up in who I am. Baby, you gotta grow up. You have to try something new. You have to stop worrying about who's watching you while you're trying to figure it out, because guess what? They're not trying to figure anything out. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So why would you worry about whether somebody else that does not have as much courage as you is thinking about you? Why are you putting them above you? Huh? Don't do that. All right? All right, yeah. We're not doing that anymore, okay? Step out of your comfort zone. See what is behind door 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jump off the cliff. Do whatever you have to do so that you can extend yourself and push yourself past your limits. Because in that journey, you develop so much strength and wisdom, and you'll be able to sit on a couch like me and tell people, like, come on, baby. We need to walk through those doors. We need to see what's on the other side. All right. Okay. I'm so excited for you guys. Next tip. And it flows so effortlessly from the last point to this point. Stop listening to other people. Now, if it's detrimental advice, like don't be the second baby mama, baby, you listen to that. Listen to that one. We don't want to be baby mama number nothing at all. But definitely don't be a second baby mama. Coming from a second baby mama, that will be the last time you will ever hear me refer to myself as anything as such. But we're just going to keep it real on this channel. Okay, don't do that. Now, I didn't have a lot of issues being number 2 when it came to number 1. Actually, number 1 and I ended up becoming really good associates, okay? But I'm just saying, don't do that. Now, you listen to me there, okay? But you don't listen to people in situations where it may inhibit you from finding your identity. If you want to sing, do that. If you want to go on tour, do that. If you want to decorate your home however you want to decorate your home, do that. Girl, child, whoever's watching, I have another story time. I will never forget when I moved out of my second place into my third place. I got rid of all of my furniture. And the furniture that I had that I was lugging from place to place 1 and place 2, was a hand-me-down. Even though it was a beautiful set, I always knew that that was a hand-me-down. I always knew that that didn't reflect who I was, my style, my decor, and I never really got a chance to experience that because, okay, fresh in college and you get your own place and you're trying to find your own decor and stuff like that, I had to go with the cheap sets. There was a strain there. But when it came to decorating my third place, I went with my mom, and I don't know why we always take our moms. It's like when you become an adult, you realize mom took care of everything. I don't know how to take care of anything. I don't know how to call my doctor and make doctor's appointments. I don't know how to make a dentist appointment. And it's like, duh, you just call them and you say, hey, I need to make an appointment, but you don't know what to say. Sometimes there's things that you just need to say. You need to know what type of appointment you're having, and you're just so used to mom taking care of that or dad taking care of that if you were raised by your father. So I brought my mom along because she has this beautiful insight in decor. She always kept our home beautiful, always. She always had this immaculate style. But when I went with her, I felt like she overshadowed what I really wanted. And she would tell me, no, you can't get a light couch set because you have a child. He's gonna mess it up. It's gonna stress you out. It's gonna be too much. It's gonna be this. And all of those things start flooding into my mind. It was sort of a letdown. It really was a letdown. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna settle for this couch. It's my favorite color. It's comfortable. I'm not in love with it, but you're right. I had to look at that couch for 7 years knowing that that was not my ideal couch. That was not the couch that I wanted. It was not the decor. It was not the aesthetic. It's not what I wanted. But I decorated my house the way she wanted me to decorate my house for the image that she held for me. I was so happy when Ty and I were dating and he had a couch that was ready to go. He asked me to help him find something, and I was like, babe, are you sure? Because now I'm very sensitive about that, and I don't want to send him down the path that I sent myself down. So I was like, are you sure that you want me to decorate and you want me to put my input and my image on your home? And he was like, yes, babe, I trust you. I know you're going to pick something nice. You know what I like, and we have similar tastes. So yeah, you can go ahead and get whatever you want. Hence, this beautiful couch that I now sit on. So even though we paid top dollar for this bad boy, we love it. And we may not sit on it all the time. We love this couch. It is incredibly comfortable. And if anything happens, we can take the covers off and wash them. Very easy to maintain. And of course, we got insurance on it as well. Saying that all to say that when I finally had the money to express myself in my decor in my home, because I'm going to be living in this domain for the next 7 to 8 years. I'm going to have this furniture for this long. While I do want something durable, I have money now to get what I really want. And I did not have the confidence to stand up and say, Ma, I value your opinion. I brought you here because I wanted to hear your opinion, but please allow me to make this final decision myself. And I don't want to hear you throw it in my face and say, I told you so if anything happens. This is what I want, and it's important that I walk this path. I didn't do that, and I was miserable for a very long time. So that is what I mean when I say, don't listen to people. Discover who you are. Go and try things out that you want to try out. Go to the places that you want to go. If you want to travel, go. All you have to do is your research. Do your research, make sure that you're safe, but go explore and enjoy yourself. It's very important that you trust your own decisions. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to know that you're going to make the right choice for you. Every decision that you make won't always be the best decision. You're not always going to be able to cover all of your bases and everything turn out right. That's okay. It's not meant to always turn out right. You just deal with the consequences. And that is what leads me into the next point. Having accountability, making sure that when things don't turn out well, or you have to speak up about something, you do that. When you hide behind things, or you hide behind people, or you hide behind situations, that is not going to make you confident. That's going to make you even less confident. It's going to destroy your confidence. You're hiding. Whatever decisions that you make, you have to stand 10 toes down in that. You can't be confident. You can't jump out on a ledge. You can't leave your comfort zone. You can't have courage if you aren't ready to take on any repercussions for your decisions that you make. So you got to make the decisions, and then you have to show up for the consequence or the repercussions for the outcome of each decision. So whether good or bad, you have to stand 10 toes down in your decisions because they're yours. You made them. You have to show up and show out. Be responsible. Be accountable. Do exactly what you need to do. I used to call myself your accountability coach because I made sure that I held you accountable. No one outside of you should have to do that. You should be holding yourself accountable at all times. You should show up and admit when you're wrong, when you're right. You should be doing that because every time you don't, you're telling yourself you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't even be in these places, in these areas, in these opportunities. You keep pushing yourself back when you need to stand forward and stand 10 toes down. I mentioned this before. I used to take so many things personally. I no longer do that. So you will no longer do that, okay? Sometimes things do sting, but you don't have to allow it to become a part of you, a part of your persona, a part of your character. That's not your job. You take constructive criticism, no matter how people are throwing it at you, and you adjust, you fix, you come up with solution. One thing that I have innately is knowing that I'm going to fix it. I know I'm going to find the answer. I know that I'm going to fix it. And I know that no matter what, I'm going to be okay. If you are questioning that, if you have any doubt in your mind about that you're not going to show up for yourself, it's going to be very challenging to build any sort of confidence. That is where the bridge breaks. That's where it snaps for you. So, baby, you got to get it together. You have to get it together. Show up for yourself. Know that you're going to show up for yourself. Be confident in showing up for yourself. And whether you're wrong or right, know that you're going to handle it accordingly. You have to always have your own solutions. You can't look to other people to find these solutions. And you can't take everything personally. Everything that someone does is not about you. How egotistical is it for you to think that every single thing that someone does is about you? It's not. A lot of times people aren't even thinking about you. Someone recently commented on one of my videos saying, "Can you not use this word because it's offensive to my people?" Sweetheart, I don't know your people. And quite frankly, I don't care about your people. Because before I can even care about your people, I got to care about my people. And before I care about my people, I have to care about myself. I'm not an oppressor. So don't come to me with your narrative trying to put it on me. If you want to change something, you need to go change it yourself. You need to speak loud and clear on your own platform. And then if other people are intrigued, they will then follow your message. But you don't get to censor how I speak and what I say and my narrative. You don't control that. And when they did that, I didn't respond because it has nothing to do with me. They feel hopeless. They feel helpless. They feel like they have no power, and they're showing me that they view me as someone that does. Because why would you want me to push your narrative for you? Clearly, you think I'm powerful. But just because you think I'm powerful does not mean that you get to dictate my voice. That's my decision as a person. I think a lot of people get confused, and I guess this is where we're going to transition, but they get confused with content creator being a title and a thing and it being a person. I'm a human being. I have feelings. I have emotions. I have my own things that I fight for. You don't know me. I don't know you. You don't tell me what to do. Let's go ahead and get into the last version of this video. When I went live, I had some of my lovely, lovely people asking me about how I overcame certain things being a content creator. You guys already know it's not easy being a content creator. You hear people say it all the time. You may see people making brain rot content and say, oh, it only took them 2 seconds to set up that camera and get that content out. But even if it does take you a couple of minutes to do content, It takes a lot of brain power. It takes a lot of invisible work to be able to know how people are going to react to your content, or to be able to understand how to make content go viral for you. And a lot of people play into their strengths. So I've heard a lot of debacle about looking a certain type of way, being blonde hair, blue eyes, and getting pushed for mediocre things. Well, if you know that, they're gonna lean into that. They don't have that embarrassment of showing up as that stigma. They lean into that. And a lot of people lean into stigmas that may not be a good light for them in their community, but they still lean into it. And that's how they get successful. For those of us that are conscious, that want to make conscientious type of content that's also entertaining to watch, we have to get rid of the poverty mindset. We have to get rid of the lack mindset. We have to understand that we can't allow what people are going to say to disrupt our path, because we're walking this path with intention. So why are we always the ones that are afraid to step up and show out in our content creation? The question that was brought up was, how do you find the confidence to post when you know people that you know are watching? I feel kind of shy, I feel embarrassed. Or how do you go about it? Do you create another page? What would you do? And my answer was, if you feel that constricted by that, block them. Block them. You can make a new page. You can unfollow them so that they can unfollow you, because guaranteed they're gonna unfollow you. The weirdest activity that I've seen with people is how they downplay social media and behave as though social media is not a real thing that you can build a true career off of and you can get a lot of notoriety from. And in the same breath, they will come to you ready to fight about unfollowing them. They will think something is seriously going on and take it personal that you unfollowed them or you got rid of your page. You know, anything where you're separating yourself from family and entertainment and content creating. Because a lot of us understand that when we are making content, our family and friends don't have to like that content. That may not be something that they're interested in. And a lot of people take that personal as well. And that's why I told you all, don't take things personal, because if people aren't supporting you, that's fine. Your content may not be their cup of tea. That is fine. The issue arises, right? And this is when you're going to have to lay down boundaries, is when they want you to support them. Let's reflect on what I said prior to this, okay? And let's keep note on that, because it's very important. Understanding that it does not matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter if they tell you, oh, you still doing that little content, and they play down whatever you're doing. You know, I believed so much in myself that if I was coming to an event and I still had to get content done because it's on the content day, I will let them know, like, hey, I'm coming, I'm gonna celebrate with you guys, but I'm going to excuse myself for a little while so that I can go take care of some of my content. This is still my content day. And if people were snickering, or you know how sometimes you know people are talking about you behind your back, but they don't show you anything up front. If anything like that was transpiring, which I'm sure it was, I did not care. I could care less. I knew I was gonna succeed at this. That's the other thing. Why do you want to do what you want to do? Is it something that you know is going to take off? Do you believe in yourself to that degree? Or are you just doing it because everybody else is doing it? Are you just doing it because you want to be known? Are you just doing it because you want to be paid? I was doing it because God pushed me in this direction. I was forced to become more secure and be more confident on the internet in front of millions of strangers all the time. People are always going to have something to say. It doesn't matter. I will tell you this. You don't want the people that aren't supporting your content to tank your content, because you have to be logical as well. It can't be emotional. I love this person so much and I don't want to hurt their feelings, and I don't want them to think that I have an issue with them or I'm better than them. It does not matter what they think. What matters is that you see this through. Is it that important to you that you see it through? Okay, it is. All right, get rid of the dead weight, because the dead weight is going to hold you down. Every algorithm is going to show your content to your friends first, to your followers first. And if they're not engaging, they will never push it to anybody else. Now, if your content is really good, it doesn't really matter, honey. It's still going to get pushed. But when you're just getting started, you need to get that sort of inclination like, oh, I'm reaching this demographic of people. I'm reaching that demographic of people. These people really rock with my stuff. That's when you find your community. That's when you find your tribe. You can't be scared of your childhood friend seeing what you're doing because you think it's cringe. If you think it's cringe and you're not proud of it, you shouldn't be doing it. But if you know that you're doing the stair steps because you're just trying things out so that you can get a handle on this whole content thing, then you need to put your all into it and not worry about anybody else. And not worry about whether you're hurting their feelings, not worry about any of that. Now remember, everything that I shared with you before, I combated all of that before I became a content creator. So if you haven't handled any of those things, it's time to go ahead and go through your self-growth process. Before you jump out and you try to do anything, if you keep holding yourself back and you're twiddling your thumbs, and you're procrastinating and you're not really necessarily getting it done and it's not really a big deal because you have a full-time job, if those are the things that you have going on, you don't have the passion and dedication that you need to go through with it. So now it's time to take a step back and say, you know what? Let me self-reflect. Let me heal myself. Let me handle these wounds. Let me face my fears. Let me step out of my comfort zone. Let me get used to this. And then I can move forward and do what I need to do in front of millions of people. Because once you go viral, baby, you done went viral. You can't control what other people say. You can't control the narrative that other people play. You can't. You can't worry about it either. Even though you're gonna worry about it and you're gonna wanna control what other people say and you're gonna wanna respond to people or you're gonna wanna go under a rock and hide. And that is where you persevere. That's where you push through. That's where you control yourself. All of the advice I gave you is going to ensure that you succeed in this content creating thing, okay? You have to always show up for yourself. That's gonna be being consistent, right? As you figure it out, I don't expect you to be consistent while you're figuring things out. But if you have an issue with being consistent, then you should be consistent before you even try to figure things out. You have to get in the ebb and flow of understanding how to show up and show out all the time consistently. And that's something that I've had to deal with as well. If you guys have watched my journey, you've seen me do that. Now, every time I come back, it's always elevated. Peep that. Just remember, I'm not doing the same thing because I'm playing it safe and I know that it works every single time I come back from a break or I come back from a disappearance act. It's not the same because in that disappearance, I'm studying, I'm grinding, I'm still working, I'm evolving, I'm planting seeds. I don't care what anybody thinks when I'm doing that because I'm still trying to figure it out. If my people are loyal and my people really value me, they will show up and show out every single time I come back. And if they don't, I'm not holding them to it. That's fine. I will find another community that will do that because me as a person, I'm a person before I'm a content creator. I need that type of support. I don't want anything less. A lot of people get caught up in the accolades and getting that star and that A for effort. Oh, you have these many followers, or maybe you're demeaning yourself because you don't have any followers and you're not getting any traction. Baby, you have to see it through. There's going to be times where you don't get any traction. I did not just hop on the scene and I was this big thing on TikTok. Before I even got on TikTok, I was failing at Instagram. And then I started to get some traction on Instagram. And I was like, geez, this app is challenging to figure out. And then TikTok came out. And I was like, I like TikTok because it's more progressive in thought. It's more progressive in content creating. I can get down with this. Now I'm not doing surface things. I'm doing the things that I like and that I want to do, that's ring true to me. And that is how I found my purpose because I understood this is what I truly care about. I don't care about anybody that does not like what I care about. I care about it. I'm the only person that needs to have my back and needs to believe in me and needs to see this thing through. Me and only me. Like, do you hear my determination? Do you see how crazy I am? I am so serious. I'm not playing. Anybody in my way, they're gonna get hit. Get out the way. Move, bitch. Get out my way. You're in my lane. Move. Get in your own lane. Don't get hit. Don't get your feelings hurt. Because if you do, that's all on you. I'm not going to let you stop me. Anybody jumping out in front of the road like this? Stop. I don't want you to be successful. I hope you got insurance. I hope it isn't with the CEO that just got shot. Because baby, you will get hit. You will get ran over. That is the type of diligence that you need to have for yourself. That is the type of belief that you need to have for yourself. So worrying about whether your grandma, uncle, daddy, mom, you better block them. You better unfollow them and make them unfollow you. You better go ahead and create that brand new page, because that is the only way that you're going to get through that first threshold. That is only the beginning. You also have to be confident in understanding that you're just going to have to try any and everything. You're going to have to figure it out. Sometimes you're going to have to copy. I'm the type of person, I like to build from the ground up. I don't want anybody's help. To my surprise, when I had to follow trends and copy trends, it was a little hit to my ego, because I was like, ugh, I don't want to do this. This is so basic. This is brain rot. This is not conscious. This is not da 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 da. But I needed the training. That was the template that I needed to follow in order to understand what it even takes to create content. What is the format? What is it that people are looking at when they're able to decipher this is a content creator and this is somebody that's just on the internet doing anything, having fun, right? You have to understand that mindset, that quality of thinking. So you have to have confidence in order to do content creating. You have to understand that it does not matter who's seeing you. It doesn't matter if they see you stumble. It doesn't, like, if they laugh at you for trying, they are the true villain. Anybody laughing at somebody else for trying is a problem. And you don't have to hold on to that anger. You don't have to hold on to that resistance. You don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. Don't pay it any attention. Don't give it any more energy. You focus on yourself. All of the times that you're looking behind you while you're driving, you're gonna crash. You're gonna crash, baby. So focus on yourself. Focus on what you do and make sure that you perfect it. Make sure you're the best at it. You better do what you need to do, okay? One thing my dad always told me, and shout out to him for being Nigerian, is I don't care what you do. If you want to work for McDonald's, go work for McDonald's. If you need to start from the bottom, start from the bottom. Before I land in my grave, you better be the CEO. And that is how he spoke life into me. I didn't like how he was saying it. Because talk to me nice. Why are you talking to me like that? Slow down. But he was right. Whatever you decide to do, be the best at it. Don't get complacent. Don't get comfortable. Don't think that you've made it. You need to make sure that you win all the accolades. You need to make sure that you prove to everybody that you're the best at that. And that was troublesome for me because I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. But I was like, instead of me trying to be in competition with everybody else or prove something to everybody else, why don't I prove something to myself? Why don't I get in competition with myself? You owe yourself that at the very least. I needed to change my paradigm in order to understand that I still had to figure out how to make it. Even if I can't make it the way he's trying to get me to make it, I still had to figure out within myself, how am I going to make it? So I understood I'm never going to ever be in competition with anybody else. I don't care enough, but I should be in competition with myself. The new version of me needs to be a stark difference from the old version of me. And I think I'm doing a pretty damn good job at that. You don't let people jump in your way when you have a goal that you want to see to the finish line. And sometimes you may pivot, sometimes you may get knocked down, but you always have to be there for yourself to help pick you up. This is your dream. This is your life. This is your legacy. I hope you guys got something from that. Don't let me down. Don't let yourself down. Because if you're aligned with me, oh baby, you got to get it together. I want to see all my people win. I want to see all my people at the top. Okay? I hope you were able to get something from this and that it touched your spirit in a way that you'll never look back. You'll never give up. You'll never make excuses ever again. And you'll be sure to show yourself that you can do it. I hope you feel a little bit more confident now. I will see you guys in the next video. That's my time, baby. Peace, love, and a little bit of spice. Mwah.